Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining today's Vision 6 Power Session, Vision 6 Tricks, the third three. My name's Andy, the product trainer here at Vision 6 in Brisbane, and I'll be taking you through today's power session. Now, normally with these power sessions, as the name suggests, we sort of tend to focus on one particular topic and then just sort of hone in on that so that you can sort of learn something new and then get straight back on with your day. But every now and then we do these Vision 6 tricks sessions in that we'll cover a couple of different little things. They don't take 20 minutes each, they're quite short. So we've condensed three of those into today's session. And they are, trick number one will be to look at how to post a social media update at the same time you post or send out your email. The second one we'll look through is how to create columns and use columns within your email design, and also flick between different column layouts. So you could have a section of your email that uses 2 columns, then go back to single column, and then 3, or whatever the case might be within your email design. And the third little trick we'll look at there is Spreadsheet View, which is a great way to mass edit or mass manipulate the data that you have in Vision 6 without having to go back into a spreadsheet program. You can actually make those edits within the platform. So we'll go through these within the 20-minute session today. So let's start with the first one, social media update. What does this allow us to do? Well, in Vision 6, you can automatically post to your social media accounts when an email gets sent. And you can post that alongside when the email gets sent immediately, or you can delay that by minutes or hours if you want to as well. The social media networks that are supported are Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and reporting on that through the clicks is also made available to you as well. So you can actually see how many people engaged with those links when your email was sent. And a good example of this is if you're an online store and you've got a sale email going out, or you've got a promotional email going out, for example, you can post it to social media as well, because not everyone may be on your mailing list. However, you might have a lot of people on your social networks following your brand or your business. So by posting out to social media at the same time an email goes out is a great way to draw attention to that. You can link to the email so people can see what the offer was, and of course then engage with it and make a purchase or whatever the case might be. So what are the steps involved in doing this? And we'll jump into Vision 6 in a tick and actually go and set these up. So generally you'd create your actual email that you want to send out. And then alongside that, you would create your social media update within Vision 6 as well. So you'd actually write what you want the post on the social media accounts to be. And then when you set up your email send and connect your social media networks, which you only need to do once, so you would actually log into Facebook and LinkedIn or Twitter through our platform so that the connection is made. And then you go and send your email and it posts to social media accounts for you automatically. So let's take a look at how to set it up. And here's just a little screenshot example here of a post I did the other day to Facebook from Vision 6. And as you can see there, it's including some text information there, an image, as well as a description and a second heading down here as well. So let's have a look and see how to set this up. So I'm just over in Vision 6 now, and I've clicked over to messages on the left-hand side because these social posts are tied to email messages. And I've just got one here that I've called social media post, for example. So we'll open up this little email. And as you can see here, it's just an email advising of a special offer that we have, for example, for our donut store here. You may have noticed, or maybe you haven't noticed, that we've got this little social tab here along the top next to our email designing section. So we just click on that social tab, and this little section here pops up. And this allows us to specify what we want to send to the social networks as part of the text that goes with it. So we could say donuts on sale now, 10% off today only. Read more, and by pressing this button here, insert short URL, it will actually insert a clickable link to the online version of your email. So the user will actually be able to view the email that you're sending in a browser. Even if they didn't receive the email, they'll just get an online link to it, and they can then have a look and read that email and read the offer that you've got for sale, for example, or whatever the offer might be. I can just, to save time, I can actually copy and paste this same text to all three of my social platforms here if I wanted to, but I could change it. They could all be different if I wanted to do so. Now, Facebook, of course, what it will do is it automatically scans your email and it grabs the first image that it sees and attaches that to the Facebook post. But that might not always be the best image that you've got in your email. For example, the first thing in your email could be your logo, and underneath that you've got a nice a beautiful looking banner with all of your information in it. What if we want that banner to be the focus of our Facebook post, not our logo? What you can actually do here is a little further down, we can override the link details that Facebook uses. So I can just click on this little box here to select the image that I want to use with my Facebook post. So I'm just going to click on that and choose this one here. And this is just the Vision6 image gallery that this is using. So all of the images that we would have used in our email are available here too. So I can insert that. I can then type a custom title if I would like to. So sale on now, and a more lengthy description if I want to here as well. So we could say discounts available now in all stores, getting quick till stocks last, or something like that. And then once we've got that information all in there, we could then save that, and that's saved alongside with the email. So that's always available there now on this social tab alongside this email that I'm designing. Okay, so that's ready to go. So now when I send this email, it will post that to social media. But how do we control that? So here on the Send tab, or the Send section, this is where you'd normally go to when you're sort of sending your email. You put your subject in here, you choose your recipients, you can schedule the email, of course, as well. So all this you'd be familiar with generally. There's nothing different here. However, as long as you've entered something into that social section that I showed you before, you'll see this new panel here, Social Update, which I can now switch on. And here we get our 3 social networks that I've used. So if I've only filled in the Facebook section, back on that social tab, then only the Facebook section here would appear. But because I've filled in all 3, it's now asking me to connect all 3 of them. So all I need to do is press the connect button next to Facebook, the connect button next to Twitter and LinkedIn, and just once only connect that to my relevant Facebook page or my Twitter account, my LinkedIn account, and so on. And that just then lets Vision6 or allows Vision6 to post onto that network for you. Once that's then connected, and you only need to do that once, you can then post whether you want to, or set whether you want to post this immediately at the same time your email sends, or delay it by a certain number of minutes, hours, or days if you wanted to through there as well. And of course, if your Facebook account is associated with multiple business pages or brand pages, which may be the case for some companies, particularly agencies as well, you'll be able to choose which page to post to from this drop-down. So it's smart enough to know that if you have multiple pages, you can choose which one from the drop-down. Same with Twitter there, you connect that through, and then you can set how or when to post the updates straight away with the email send, or delay it by a certain amount of time. The other great thing is if you schedule it as well, you can then also manage that from the scheduling function there. So you can delay the posting of the email as well, but have your social networks post first. Those types of things you can do through that the scheduling function there. So that's it. Now when I press review and send, that email will go out to my desired contacts here, but it will also post on my social networks down here at the same time. So it's again a great way to get your message out there, particularly if you're running an e-commerce platform or something sales related, or it's a general e-newsletter that the public is allowed to see. Then of course, why not post that to your social networks as well and just save a bit of time. It's one less thing to do when you're creating those social posts there. And as per the example you can see here, here's what was sent. So the little section at the top here, sale is on now with the link, that comes from the actual top part here on the social tab for Facebook. So that little preview was a Facebook post there. That's coming from here, sale on now with a link to the email, which is automatic. That's at the top. The picture we've set using this one down here. That's where you can set your own image. That's the picture. And then the title and description down the bottom here, they appear there, title and description underneath. So that's a screenshot of what the post looks like on Facebook. So you've got some good customization options there, and you can really enhance that, of course, with your brand colors and things like that to really make it pop. So some good little tips there. Now, the other final thing that you get there is reporting as well. So as you know, from every email send that you do within the platform, you get a report for that email send as well. So I'll just quickly open up the report here. This is just a sort of an email sent a little while ago. You'd probably be familiar with this report screen if you've ever had a look at an email send report. But at the bottom here, you've got this social panel. So this is what will get updated if you have anyone click on the those social links from the social updates down here. you'll see those clicks come through. So if 2 people from Facebook click on the link, then that will say 2 clicks through there. So again, you've got the reporting side of things as well, which is always good in any marketing campaign, just to have that data to see how those things are going. Excellent. So that was our first section there on the social updates. Remember, as we're going through these, if you have any questions as you go, type them into the Q&A or chat panel for me. And at the end, those will queue up and I'll be able to answer those at the end of the session. Section 2 now, email columns. So with our built-in email designer, the drag and drop email builder, it's a great easy way to be able to include columns into your email design. So it can give a nice little, just, I guess, a bit of a difference within the layout of the email. You don't have to always make it, one big column of content. You can have the columns in there, 2 columns, for example, to make it look nice. You can also mix and match in the same email. So you could have the introduction of your email or your newsletter be sort of a full width single column, and then you can split out into a couple of smaller articles by using 2 side-by-side columns, and then maybe go back to another full width single column as well. Again, just to make the email look a bit different, so it doesn't always have the same content as the user reads it or skim reads it down the page. So this allows you to unlock some additional design and layout options to really make it look nicer. And you can, of course, switch back to single column if required as well. So if you decide you don't want to use it, it's easy. You're not sort of stuck in having to redesign the email again or anything like that. It's an easy method of just switching that back to single column. And there's a little screenshot there of a 2-column layout in this section, but the rest is single column. So let's take a look at how to set that up within our email. So again, I'll jump back into Vision 6 and the messages section here. I'm just going to jump into my special folder. And we've got a newsletter here set up for our fictitious donut company, XYZ Donuts. And you'll see at the moment, it's just our monthly club e-newsletter here with our logo at the top. But I've got these 4 articles. One talks about the recipe club. Then we've got one about our range, catering options, and just telling people we do more than just cakes and things. So I've got these all here. And this might be a good candidate to have these within columns because we've got the nice introduction at the top here, but then why not break into a 2-column layout for the remainder of our email? Just again, make it to look a bit nice, look a bit different. So how do we do columns? It's quite easy. You just grab one component and click and hold the mouse down and then drag it up above wherever you want it to go. Now, normally, if you want to reorder these things, this is how you do it. You actually drag and then let go at the top. And now this one is above that one because I've simply just dragged it up. But instead of doing that, to make columns, all you need to do is instead of dragging up and down, you drag to the left or right. And you'll notice that grey shading in the background is now going to a half and half view to show us that if we let go, the column will be on the left or right. So let's pop that one here. And you'll see we've got that in the column view there. Of course, it's actually good that it's done this because I'm going to explain a way that you can correct this if that's happening. So you'll see that if the text isn't exactly equal in both columns, which can be the case sometimes, this one is a bit shorter than this one, you'll see the background color of your email, which is this gray, is sort of shining through. The workaround there is under the advanced section here. You've got the option to set a column color. I'm just going to make that white. And you'll see as I'm sort of moving through, you can see it's changing the color on the left there. So we want to make that white the same color as the column. And I might as well do it for this one as well, because if the reverse is true, and I make this really long, you'll see the same things happening on the right. So that column I need to make white as well through there. So just a couple little things to keep in mind as we go through and design our email. That's all looking good there, and that's the 2 columns. But now we've got another section here with some full width sections, and I would like to probably make those columns as well because that would look quite nice. We've sort of then got 4 blocks. One tip though, and this is definitely, if you want to sort of take away one thing from today's session, hopefully it'll be more, but if there's only one thing, this would be it. A great tip is to pop a spacer between your rows of columns, because what's going to happen now, if I put these 2 sections here as columns as well, so we've got one row of columns here, and then there'll be another one of columns underneath here. What can happen again is if one of these columns is very long, like this one, you'll notice that if I put these into columns underneath, that there can be issues with the height of them coming in. So this one can jump up underneath here, and then the pictures won't be in line anymore, which might look a bit odd in your email design. So what you can do is pop a spacer component here between the different sections, and that will stop that from happening. So I'll just show you what that means. I'll just pop this back to a single column layout by doing it like that. I'm just going to take out all of these little spaces that I put in for the demonstration. Yep, we're all looking good. Okay, so my suggestion would be to pop one of these spaces between where your different rows are going to be. So right here at the top. And you'll see it's put a spacer in there. Now I would do a second lot of columns, like so. And if I was doing a third lot, I grab another spacer, put it down here underneath these two, and then do another set of columns. The reason you put a spacer in between them is because it sort of resets it. It's telling Vision 6, okay, anything above this spacer, you treat it as your own entity. I'm going to put a nice spacer here to stop any of the alignment issues happening or anything like that. And then we have another set of columns, another spacer, another set of columns, and so on. And that sort of, again, as I said, it stops them interacting with one another on a row basis. It's just keeping this independent, putting a block through there, the next lot independent, and so on. Now with the spacer, you can make that white, so it almost, you can't see it. You can make it pretty small too. I might make that 2 or 3 pixels high. So it's almost not there. You won't really see it in your email design, but it is definitely there. It's only 2 pixels high now. So definitely my recommended thing would be to pop spaces between rows of columns. So if you've got more than one row of columns, pop a spacer in between. And there we go. So if I save that, give it a preview, we can have a look at that in our little preview pop-up window here. And you'll see there's our nice newsletter with our columns there, 2 sets of 2. And they now won't interfere with the ones above or below because we've got that spacer hidden in the background there. That's sort of acting as a bit of a roadblock between the two to keep them all separate. And of course, in a mobile phone view, if I were to preview that in mobile phone mode, you'll see that it's just stacking the columns one on top of another, which is fantastic, exactly as we expect. Now, how many columns can you have in Vision 6? You can have, well, I don't think there's a limit. I've tried 7 or 8, but I would definitely max it out if possible at 2 columns. The reason being that older versions of Outlook on a mobile phone don't support columns as well. So they will actually try and put the columns, or some versions of Outlook try and put the columns next to each other on a mobile phone, which, as you can imagine, can be quite squishy on a small screen. So if you're finding with the reporting stats that you get a lot of users on Outlook, on a mobile, then try to stick to 2 columns max just for compatibility. And of course, as I said, use a spacer element between rows of columns. And of course, Vision 6 has a built-in inbox testing tool. So what you can do is send your email to this testing tool. It will give you a screenshot of what it looks like in 20, 30, 40 different email clients out there. You can pick which ones you want to test it in, and it will show you a screenshot of what it looks like so you can test it as well. We'll have another power session on the testing tool a bit later on. The third Vision 6 trick is Spreadsheet View. So this is sort of a little known function in Vision 6, but it's very powerful. It gives you a spreadsheet style of, or a spreadsheet style view to manage your data within the platform. You can also within this view create new fields, edit and delete fields on your list, make mass edits to your data there, and also quickly search for and correct data. So let's have a look at Spreadsheet View and how that works. So at the moment now I'm into the contact section on the left-hand side. So this is my contact list here with all my different fields. And you'll notice we have a bit of a problem here. Again, well, this is more me. For me, you'll see here, I don't like this. Some of the states are written out in full and some of them are using the abbreviation. Now, the reason that may have happened is because on our list, if we just have a look at the actual form that we're getting our customers to fill in, the state field is just a text box, so they can type whatever they want in there, which is why we have that data inconsistency where some states are written out in full and others are abbreviated. And this is a good example of something you might fix in Spreadsheet View before you go and correct your form to stop that from happening. So Spreadsheet View can be accessed by pressing this little pencil icon here. This is in the contact section. And this will open up your list in a view very familiar with those who use Excel or a spreadsheeting application. And this is great because you can actually change the data here. So you can change people's names. Obviously, you'd only do this if you had to. But similar to how Excel works, you can grab a field, press copy, and then highlight different fields and press paste. So again, very easy to change, for example, everyone's last name to Thomas. You've got the undo function there, of course, as well. And you can also grab a field, and just like with Excel and Google Sheets, when you're in the clicked onto the bottom right corner of it, you can drag it down. And now that value will be filled into all of your other rows within the spreadsheet. So you can do some great things here. You can add fields as well. And you can also edit fields. So in here, I can come in and press the edit option. So I did that a bit quick. I'll come down back again. press this little icon here, go edit, and you can change the name of the field as well as convert it to a different type of field, which I'll do in a moment here. So a good candidate for why you would use this, other than just making changes to fields and things, is correcting this issue we see here with the data. I could go and copy the correct QLD and come into here, highlight these two, and press paste if I wanted to fix that. But let's say I've got thousands and thousands of records on my list that are wrong. How would I fix that en masse? Well, what we can actually do is use the search function and search for the ones that are spelled incorrectly. So we'll go search, and here we can go state contains Queensland written out in full. This will now give me my 2 that are wrong, but imagine if this is tens of thousands of records that are wrong. I can now go and fix them one at a time, or of course by using that little drag function. I can fix one and then drag it down, and now all my data on the list is now correct. I can then clear the search, and now everything's looking great. The other great thing is, as I said here, is that you can also edit fields. So at the moment, this state field is a simple text box. It allows users on the form to type in whatever they want. We want to stop that and make it a drop down, so they have to choose from one of our preset options. How do I change a text field to a drop down field? In Spreadsheet View, we can come into this little editor here and go to Edit Field. And here at the moment, you'll see it says text field, but I can press Convert and convert that into, say, a drop-down field. Now, the great thing is you can automatically populate it with values that are already in the list. So if I do that, the states I already have, although I am missing a few, but the states I already have will be added to this drop-down field. So if I convert that, you'll now see I have a drop-down field with set options. And I can come in here and add in remaining states such as South Australia, Tasmania, etc., NT, and pop those through there and save it. So now if I double click on this field, I get a drop down. The same is true if I look at my form over here, my subscription form. I'll just refresh the page because the data's changed in the background. Now it's a drop-down field. So the user would see this on the form. So it's a great way to work with your data en masse and make edits to fields and things like that as well. So it's a good little tool. Of course, be very careful. You are making mass changes to your data through here. You do have an undo function, but as soon as you close this, that's it. You won't be able to undo any more. So a couple of things to maybe suggest if you wanted to is perhaps download a copy of your list using the download function before you make these changes, so that you've always got a backup to go to if you accidentally do something. But it is a very handy function. It means you don't have to go into Excel or another program to make those data edits. For certain things, you can do it in here and make the adjustments as required. So it certainly saves some time.